Hello, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley, and this is episode 14 of the Heartfield series. We've gotten into talking about angels and soul groups and some pretty far out stuff, but beautiful and benevolent and wonderful. And I think there isn't anybody that doesn't like the concept of angels, unless they're an atheist, and no disrespect to that. And the difficulty in being human is faith and validation and belief and having all that. And that's why sometimes the only way you can really understand and have validation of your spiritual nature is through direct experience. Simple, beautiful phrase taught to me by a lovely man who taught me a lot of the healing art that I speak about, and I'm grateful for all the time he spent with me. And well, like I said, there are schools you can find in the United States where you can learn more. I tend to speak about healing a lot from the spiritual aspect because I just love that idea of the God within, the creator, the supreme being. It's been the greatest comfort that I have found in my life during times when things don't go so well. And many others have too. I mean, there's groups of people around that just pray. They've done studies where they look at the outcome of a group. One group was prayed for and the other wasn't, or some individuals were and some won't. And they see a difference in the outcome of the operation or the illness. There isn't much put out there through the media about this, but you could find some things. You used to be able to find them very easily on Medline through the National Library of Congress, but there are studies that have been done to look at all of this stuff about the effect of that, what happens together what happens when we come together in intention for a benevolent outcome. And when we tune up to that creative source and ask for those blessings. And now, we're starting to wonder from what we're hearing in this Hartford series, we create those blessings, but also that we work with other levels of angelics at the soul group level who might have something to do with the creation of those blessings. And so that's interesting thoughts that we have this comfort and this other support in our spiritual nature. I never understood how people could validate and know that they were around angelic beings or not, because I had a few experiences, but I don't know if they were angels or not. I've had a couple of experiences where when I used to do hands-on work, where I was working with people on hands, and on the one example, something started to rise up. It was a sort of gray, dark energy out of the chest of someone. And I've had this happen 2 or 3 times. And the very first time it happened, I got a little frightened and I took my hands off. And then I was like, okay. And I was literally praying and asking for the healing over this person, as well as doing a particular Japanese healing art called Jin Shin Jitsu. And which is a lovely healing art. You get some books and it tells you the steps of where to put your hands. John Ryan's Unity Field Healing is also the same way. Go around the body and you do these things. And you can also do these things with your intention and just seeing a picture up in here. And imagine your hands are on yourself going through it. You can even work at that level in healing, believe it or not. You don't necessarily always have to touch. But touching is a beautiful and benevolent form of healing. Probably one of the most ancient, another human trying to comfort another human with touch or not, or healing touch. And so I put my hands back on, and I just continued, and I saw this thing rise up a little more. And I had a feeling it was had a life of its own, let's put it that way, without getting into too much strange talk about these things. So I prayed and I asked for help, and I asked for the archangels, and that people talk about Archangel Michael being a protector of the way. So I was just doing a shout out, and in the corner, I was in a small room working, and in the corner of the room, this white light, and I saw this literally with my eyes open, not necessarily clairvoyantly, came down from the ceiling into the room and landed with great authority and benevolence and force. And this thing just went, rose up out of the person, went out of the top of the crown chakra and was gone. And I've had that happen a few times, and the people will always go immediately, something profound happened. I feel completely different. And I'm not exactly sure what that was. So I will share with them, as far out as it sounds. But so there are these forces of benevolence, of angels, archangels, and Arachai that I do think are very well connected into the healing paradigm. So, and then just recently, I've started to bridge into this awareness of them as an energetic presence. It took a long time of healing to work there. Maybe I just didn't believe I could do that. You know, you never know how that works. But in that particular case, even though it was maybe 15 years ago on that particular story, I've had it happen, as I said, a few times. It was very profound and very strong then. So I would say, ask and ye shall receive, and invite them in, you know, and invite them into your life and into your healing and into your space and into your home. And you can actually work the space of your home and turn it into a benevolent space. And just like you can ground your body, you can put gold balls in the corners of the ceilings and the floors of a room or the whole house. Usually the triangular shape of the sacred geometry that's worked with in this kind of instance is a rectangle. Interesting, look at the shape of the Parthenon and a bunch of other sacred temples. They're often rectangles. And so you put the gold balls in the floor and the corner, four corners of the ceiling and the four corners of the floor. And you put, a lot of people will use the symbol of a rose or a box, and you put that in. My husband likes to use boxes when we do meditation. He doesn't like the image of a rose, but it just needs to be neutral. So people will often use a flower, a lotus, or a rose. And then you connect that nub with gold lines to each of those corners of the room. And then you imagine a gold line grounding it down to the center of the planet, and another gold line going up from that rose. You know, you've got 4 lines for the ceiling and gold balls in the corner, 4 lines for the floor and gold balls in the corner. And that rose is grounded down, and where those gold where those gold lines going to the balls meet. And then you put it up to the cosmic, and then continue on out and put it up to the symbol of the sun is often used to define the source or the creator or God or the supreme being or whatever word you want to use. Gaia, what's that other? I'm forgetting how to pronounce it. Gaia Matra is another word for the big kahuna. And you plug that up to also through the cosmic to that. And then you invite that creator into that space. You invite angels. You can invite those guides you have the best relationships with. And it's a beautiful practice. And your body actually relaxes as you do this, as you do each step slowly, and breathe and make sure you're grounded and aligned. And it's called creating a space. And it's a beautiful practice. If you're someone who's a sensitive and you go into a restaurant and you just get very nervous with all the energy in there and all the people, you can do this exercise quickly in your mind up in that 6th chakra where you create. Just imagine there's a screen out in front of you, and you can attend the 3rd layer of your energy field, and you create that up on that little screen, which is where you do all your creating, and ground that down. And it's really interesting. People's grounding cords will just go down automatically, and suddenly your body relaxes and you're like, oh, there's a space for me here. It's very interesting work. So I just wanted to talk about the more personal side of angels and archangels and inviting them into your space. And I'm going to take a break and let Allaenea speak and see what she's going to say in this 14th episode of the Heartfield series. All right. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. This is Allaenea of Cosmic Service, Pleiadian Mother of Sound. Peace be with you, and peace be with you. Yes, yes, yes. Creating a space is a beautiful and beautiful practice. For everything you do that she's talked about in your body, the grounding, the aligning up to the cosmic, the attuning to the in the heart space to the creator, you do in that space. And as she worked out in a seminar she taught, she realized that all the tools that she teaches and that were taught to her are the same 5 or 6, and that they apply no matter what, whether it's a room, a yard, a nation, the earth, or a person. The principles are the same for establishing connection, grounding, attunement, alignment, and intention for working with your spiritual nature. So I know we went through that quickly. She went through that quickly, but it is a profound and beautiful symbolism that you work with to communicate to your spirit body and your interim body and your soul, and inviting the creator into that room, and you create that sacred space. It's a beautiful, beautiful practice. That little step of doing that visualization can change things tremendously in your regular meditation practice. Even if you do what your usual practice is, adding that quick thing as a step, try it and see, it'll be different. And it's an ancient, ancient practice that was taught even beyond your recorded history. All right, so today we wish to speak about how do the angels work through soul groups for soul group purpose. We talked about soul group purpose. We gave some little percolating hints about angels working with soul groups and how they might be doing that and some of the work they might have of helping evolution and creation and humans. But how do they do that? What is above the human spiritual anatomy at the soul level that angels can engage in? How is all that done? How did that angel, and it was an angel, come down into that room and make itself known and felt by her long ago? Yet in her meditation, she hadn't quite been able to sense or see an angel till recently. How is all that possible? What is it about and how does it work? What if in your spiritual anatomy, in your soul, in the soul group level, there is anatomy there of a soul group, just like we've described the anatomy of your heart field and some of your spirit and interim spirit body? What if at that higher level of your soul group, there was even a group anatomy, a group spiritual anatomy that you all worked within, that then was utilized by the angelic, archangelic, and Arachai realms? And what if beyond this planet, at the galactic level, in other planets you might have had experiences in, there is soul anatomy, spirit body style aspects, is the simplest way we can describe it, because at that level it's actually enmeshed with the planetary system. The soul group energy is enmeshed with the planetary system, and you can think of it as a highway of network of communication across universes. Strange concept. Now, this one, at one of those choirs we mentioned in the last one, which is a sound healing event that she's worked with, doing some grid work with other groups, she has seen these things called capsules or time capsules or spiritual portals from the galactic into the earth. And she saw it as a, and she's seen this several times in various ways, but she saw this one we're speaking of in Hawaii as a tube going up. And she's remembering, and it's a great example. There's a movie called The Last Mimsy, and it's sort of a mix of a child's movie as well as some profound physics concepts of spirit capability. It's a wonderful, wonderful little movie. And in that, they show some of these kinds of wormholes out into space. Some people refer to them as wormholes, was the other word we're trying to remember. And so she saw one of these, and then she saw it twist and turn a little bit, and little balls come in from the sides. And those were encapsulated consciousness messages that could be received, as strange and far out as that sounds. For this one has had many, many unusual experiences in her lifetime. And going out and publicly speaking about that is kind of a scary thing, because she can sound a little crazy. But we wanted to share this one with you as an understanding of that. And some of the science fiction movies that you see, they often have spiritual truth in them. This one has sat in many of them going, oh, I've seen that. Oh, I've heard about that. And do they consult with spiritual people? Yes, they do. Do they? Sometimes it comes through the imagination of the writer, but oftentimes the Hollywood writers actually consult with psychics and clairvoyants in Hollywood, because the schools out there are very populated. They're in Los Angeles, they're in San Francisco, and they're in a couple other areas of California. So the percolation of these kinds of work through the creative fields is often understood in certain states. Not so much on the East Coast. Yes, in Washington, D.C., there were psychics that used to communicate and could be called in for readings with presidents. Not so much in the one you have now or the one before, but they were with Ronald Reagan, and they were with a variety of other presidents, going back through to the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, and the 1800s. People with far-seeing abilities and knowing in their spiritual nature were always used and counseled those in government. Can you imagine? So we just wanted to, we put that as an aside, but so they're able to work the angelic realm through a group soul anatomy, is the simplest way to say it. And you will begin to actually have an ability to see that anatomy in the future. And you will see its connection to the creative forces, and you will see that it is connected to something else. And you will start to speculate the truth of the angelic realm. Interesting thought. And this is very much a manifesting potential in human creation, in humans' future, and in humans' abilities when they discover some more through their physics and their inventions become more advanced and their telescopes become more advanced. And this information has been brought in by other channel sources, but not maybe with so much detail. So it is through that spiritual anatomy of the soul group level that the angelics work. And we just wanted you to have understanding on how profound your connection is all the way across galaxies and universes and planetary systems into this one here, despite the fact that you have sleepy non-memory in each lifetime. You are amazing, you are magnificent, and you are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. Peace be with you. All right, that is episode 14 of the Heartfield series. I was walking with a girlfriend the other day out because we're getting better weather here in the spring. And I actually said, I can talk to her about this kind of thing and spiritual things. And I said, wouldn't it be really funny if this is just the new mythology? But I believe so many humans have seen the light of healing. There's so many things that are foundational that go through an individual spiritual experience that there has to be some truth to a lot of this. It's made my world richer, and I hope my sharing of it makes your world richer too. Thank you and see you next time.